some reason, Blake's ex-CIA hire is now out of hiding, and he came out with this ridiculous statement to Puck, the same online magazine that also interviewed Michael Gottlieb, as you know, last week, which I had a lot of fun going through. They also have a priceless comment from Blake Lively's CIA agent.
They don't want you to believe this man. And look, that's exactly why you need to hear what he said. His name is Nick Shapiro.
And they got some interesting quotes from Sigrid Macaulay and also Nick Shapiro. Remember that CIA guy, or this ex-CIA guy that Blake Lively hired pretty early on? And then we just knew that she hired him, but then he's been completely quiet. But he obviously still works for her. So what has he been up to this entire time?
Former CIA, Deputy Chief of Staff under the Obama administration. A man trained in deception, in media manipulation, in exactly how to make the public believe something that isn't true. And Blake Lively hired him. Quietly. Early. Before most of this even hit the news. You knew that. You already know what I'm about to say. She hired a spook. A real one. And for months, he stayed silent, hidden, working in the background while her team played victim. But now he just broke his silence, and it's damning. Here's the thing, though. Shapiro didn't talk to a major news outlet. He didn't go on camera. He went to Puck, the same online magazine that gave us that ridiculous Michael Gottlieb interview last week. You remember that. The one where they tried to spin everything as a win for Blake while the judge was literally telling her team to stop filing.
Wanted to, he just stamped the letter, said, "We don't need to hear anything more from you at this point. Shut up." He didn't say shut up, but I think that is what he was thinking. So now this is so funny to me because what Blake Lively is achieving by asking for these attorneys' fees.
And now Shapiro is out here saying that if Justin Baldoni wins this fight over attorney's fees, he'll be the man who stripped legal protections from women who report misconduct. Actually, wait, let me rephrase that. He's saying Baldoni might destroy a California Me Too law in New York, a law that doesn't even apply there.
She's trying to apply in New York. And this is where Nick Shapiro comes in. And he is adding a political argument here, saying that, consider the optics, he said. What if Baldoni, the self-styled male feminist, became the man who helped strip legal protections from women who report misconduct? How do you think that's going to go over? Well, it's not just...
You see what they're doing, don't you? This isn't about justice, not an accident at all. This is about optics. Pure, calculated, CIA-trained optics. Shapiro knows exactly what he's doing. He's taking a woman who dropped most of her claims. She dismissed 3 of them voluntarily, remember? And he's turning her into a martyr. He's framing Baldoni as the villain who wants to hurt all survivors everywhere. And the mainstream media? They're eating it up. Page 6, the Daily Mail, all of them are running headlines about Blake losing again, about the judge telling her to stop, about Ryan Reynolds sailing in Bermuda while she's alone with 4 kids.
And I think it says Blake shows the strain days after Baldoni lawsuit settlement as she attends event without Ryan Reynolds. They're also pointing out here that Ryan Reynolds is never around. He's been traveling so much lately.
But none of them are asking the real question. Why did she need a CIA man in the first place? And this is the part nobody talks about. You know, just like I know, that normal people don't hire former intelligence officers to handle their public disputes. That's what you do when you're running an operation. When you're planning something that requires denial, deception, and complete control over the narrative. Shapiro didn't come out when she filed her complaint. He didn't come out when the texts leaked. He came out now, when her back is against the wall, when the judge is clearly frustrated, when her own husband is 800 miles away on a boat instead of standing next to her at a charity event.
And this drama. It says here that Blake failed to raise a smile as she attended a equestrian event over the weekend, just days after settling her bitter court battle with Justin Baldoni. The actress looked gloom as she stepped out in North Salem, New York on Saturday. In contrast with Lively's tense demeanor, Reynolds looked happy and relaxed as he sailed with his Bonds Flying Ruse Sail GP team, 800 miles away from his wife and their 4 young children.
I need you to stay with me here, because this gets darker. The same day that article dropped, we also learned more about Justin Baldoni's cut of It Ends With Us.
This case, and they say, here is an interesting point that will come out eventually. Now it's coming out. Ryan worked very hard to try to imply that the cut of the movie that was released and made so much money.
You've been asking about it. I've seen the comments. My source close to the parties confirmed what we all suspected. The movie that made all that money, it wasn't Blake's edit. It wasn't Ryan's edit. It was Justin's. The editors have confirmed it. The test audiences confirmed it.
People who saw the original feedback from test audiences. Apparently, Justin's character tested higher with audience than Blake's character. And this might be a major factor in Blake and Ryan's obsession with re-editing. So there you go. There's the answer.
Apparently, Justin's character tested higher than Blake's. That's why they got obsessed. That's why Sony executives started calling her a terrorist.
They got so obsessed. They continue. Whatever happened, there was an ick factor with the Blake and Ryan edit that lingered, and the ick clearly spread to Sony executives, which is why they started calling her a terrorist and wanted the edit to revert to Justin's. It's like no matter how Blake inserts herself into things, a director's film, the Met Gala, she leaves an icky.
That's why they wanted the edit to revert. And the real question isn't where is Justin's cut. The real question is where is Ryan Reynolds' cut? And how bad was it? They don't want you to know that the ick factor came from them, not him. But here's the breadcrumb that should keep you up tonight. We know Blake hired Shapiro. We know she hired Sigrid McCauley, the lawyer who represented Epstein victims. We know she followed Vital Voices on Instagram, the same organization that gave Justin an award and then yanked it back the day after the New York Times article dropped.
Award that they later revoked just the day, I think, after that New York Times article. They revoked the award and went public with it, saying we want the award back from Justin Baldoni. Remember that? I spoke about them the other day. And some of you guys also sent emails to them saying, hey, what's happening now? Shouldn't you give the award back to Justin Baldoni? So I went into their Instagram and I noticed that...
Coincidence? You and I both know the answer to that. So I'm going to slow down here for a second, and I want to talk to you directly. This bothers me. Not because I care about celebrities, not because I have a dog in this fight, but because I've watched this machine work before. The PR teams, the intelligence operatives, the friendly journalists, the coordinated drops. It's the same playbook every time. And the people who get hurt aren't the rich ones. The people who get hurt are the real victims. The ones who don't have a CIA man on retainer, who can't afford to spin the truth, who get buried while the powerful rewrite history right in front of us. That's what's happening here, and they think we're not paying attention. But we are. We always have been. Now, Shapiro wants us to believe that if Blake doesn't get her attorney's fees covered, if the judge says no to triple damages, no to punitive damages, then Justin Baldoni is the one who hurt all survivors? Does that make any sense to you? Because it doesn't to me. She sued him. She dropped her claims. She settled. And now she wants him to pay for the privilege of being accused? That's not justice. That's extortion wrapped in a Me Too ribbon. And the judge sees it. You saw the headline. Judge to Blake Lively, I don't need to read any more filings. He stamped her request and told her to stop. He didn't say shut up, but you know that's what he was thinking. So here's my question to you, and I want you to really think about it before you type in the comments. If Blake Lively is so convinced she's telling the truth, If she really wants to protect every survivor out there, why isn't she demanding a trial? Why did she drop her claims? Why did she hire a CIA man to manage the story instead of a lawyer to manage the evidence? You know the answer, same as I do. And I'll see you in the comments.